This week on Hermitcraft. Hang on, I've got this. It's seriously not that big a deal. Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is ZloyXP, and it's been a week, hasn't it? Aside from Grian's facial hair shenanigans, there's Tango Tech's How to Kill a Me contest, Doc M and Rendog's stock exchange blowing up, with business, not explosives, and the Phantom Hunting competition, the winner of which seems to be Cubfan. Congratulations, your winnings are currently sinking into a swamp.
Okay, not literally.
In this avalanche of news, the one thing that didn't happen is the tag moving to another person. Rendog is still very much it, and might remain itted for a while if he doesn't find the actual name tag. In the hustle of the stock market, Ren has accidentally misplaced it.
You know what though, X? The thing is, I'm way too nice of a person to plan something as dastardly as tagging you like this.
Finally, our writer's birthday is literally the day this video goes up, so please join me in congratulating ZloyXP on getting older in the comments. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week.
If you pull this off, this will be a moment in Hermitcraft history.
Beginning with Ren and Doc and the grand opening of the stock exchange, once they've circulated the infamous infomercial and made doubly sure everybody knows how to use it. After decorating the admin office with a very nice bush and making sure everyone feels tiny in front of the desk, Doc and Ren ring the bell for an audience of 2 roast chickens Ren had in his pocket and return to their other business, namely the debt Doc now owes Ren for tagging him in cold blood.
And dead chicken corpses.
No strings attached.
They're clapping their drumsticks right now.
Ren's chosen punishment is that Doc must help him out with all the redstone for the Hermitcraft railway network, and he needs all the help he can get, including the help of Azuma, who supplies him with some prismarine shards in exchange for a lifetime supply of big logs.
You get a double chest of stacks of logs of your choice.
That's a good deal. I thought you were going to say that I would get also lifetime access to your logs, but I know how taxing that can be.
But that supply is now coming from somewhere else, as Rendog and ImpulseSV form an alliance against the growing menace of the Convex. This wraps up with Ren paying a visit to the Wither-powered tree farm and offering to buy logs directly from Impulse's stash.
That's right.
That's smart.
It's definitely not going to fit in the store. We need to make a better version of that stupid barge, which really smells.
With the rails yet to be placed, Doc turns his redstone magic towards ways of killing Tango, and with the contest finished, removes his humiliating death machine in favor of a much more innocent contraption, a harmless game of Simon Says. Well, it's harmless right now, but then again, it's not finished just yet. Doc even scores a few diamonds of his own, returning to his Enderpearl shop to discover the entire place is sold out, and like the adventurous capitalist he is, immediately invests the profits at the stock exchange. Which is probably a good thing because the treasury takes a significant hit after the investors come a-knocking. Azuma in particular spent plenty of stacks of diamonds on the shares from all 10 companies available, and when he makes his first attempt to sell shares again, he makes nearly half of it back. This successful juggling of papers even earns Azuma a visit to Doc's personal office, where they agree on a secret deal away from the prying eyes of Rendog, and X marvels at the armor stand-based bonsai.
That's amazing.
But I can just tell you, making this was literally hell on earth.
The share value of Azuma's own industries should go up a notch, thanks to another farm of his turning into a shop. The dubious amounts of cod from his Guardian farm are now being sold in a fish but no chips place located in the Derp Mall. This is as close as the place gets to a food court. We suspect the reason Azuma went literally underground with this one might be an unwillingness to tread on Cubfan's turf while Fishy Foods is still open for business. Cub, in the meantime, finds himself patronizing one of Azuma's shops, or at least finally cashing in the thing he bought there, the Tango IOU note. But instead of asking to make him the winner of How to Kill a Tango, or at least demand infinite iron from the Titan, Cub just asks for a death-defying act to be performed in front of his eyes.
Hey, is here, Tango. Right here.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. If
Yeah.
you dust off the parachute, I don't know.
Exactly.
The death was not defied.
Oh! I placed it!
You
I
did
missed
place it!
Oh, man!
That was close. Man, A+ for effort, though.
It was almost epic.
But at least it brought them together for long enough to hang out at the golf course and try it on someone who had never flown via Riptide Airways before.
Close. There you go.
Oh, so close.
The golf course has since been perfected and tweaked for better convenience. Cub adds a refreshment cart to the starting point and minor quality of life improvements all over the 9 holes, such as ender pearl dispensers, ender chests, and beds in case you get lost and have to camp out on the green. For starter players, the rules were arranged in a nifty book, and for recordsmen of the club, there's now a scoreboard to track their successes.
So let's just say, I would come in, Cub fan 135. Let's say I shoot, 20. Let's say I shoot 9, get a hole in one every hole. Could happen, you never know. Could happen.
Good Times with Scar, in the meantime, takes care of the Concorp land, removing quite a bit of the lake that's drowning out their free real estate, plus walling the industrial site off with a concrete, red brick and granite design. Might want to pop some turrets on the top just to fend off the elytra flying tree farm users. They'll need that wood for themselves, what with the undercut big logs war going on. Fairly tired of restocking the wood barge for a single client who's not even building anything out of it, Scar decides to only stock half the logs at a time, dropping in another half after Rendog has paid them a visit. How will this strategy play out against a Rendog armed with a tree farm and an impulse? Only time will tell.
Gonna partially restock at a time, and I think that'll be good because we're starting to get some complaints at the butt barge, and they are complaining because we're never in stock because Ren keeps buying us out.
But the Convex have their own secret admirer. It turns out Grian, of all people, has been keeping track of their little squabble and is even willing to offer his own services to the cause as long as he gets to blow something or someone up.
So Ren would come along, he'd do his morning routine, but we replace these with a trapped chest and boom! And everybody loses.
And speaking of blowing someone up, let's finally talk about the How to Kill a Tango competition. If you haven't heard about this before, here's the concept. Tango Tech offered a sizable prize to the person who will provide the best Tango killing machine. The only rule is the rule of automation. A live Tango comes in, presses a button, and a dead Tango comes out. No player interference or action required from the victim himself. For additional fairness, the contestants were judged by a jury of 3. False Symmetry, who knows much about killing, Good Times with Scar, who knows a fair bit about dying, and Wells Knight, whose appearance as the competition's judge is his only Hermitcraft-related anything this week, but here's hoping. The full power of the machines can be seen in Tango's own episode, since the other players are mostly left staring at a box that makes redstone noises, but to recap, Cubfan kills him with drowning, suffocation, and then a flying anvil.
So good.
Doc M puts a bunny head on him only to squish him with an anvil too, then has him emerge from his respawn point wearing the dunce head.
Now I respond. Okay.
There's a way out here. Come towards us. Come towards the light. my
I gotta
friend.
switch on F5 mode. I can't. Hang on.
Yes.
Impulse runs him through a gauntlet of terrible things only for the machine to fail and TNT him prematurely before even properly reaching the most noobish death ever at the squishy face of a magma cube.
Oh,
Your
stop.
favorite? Some Mumbos coming after you. Let go of the mouse and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh, the animal just flew right by my head.
Negative points and almost killed the judges.
Grian's Obsidian Infinity Room doesn't kill him at all, but provides a very out-of-body experience to a YouTuber not spammed with "but what about Matrix Room" comments.
No. Oh, Grian, I don't really like you right now.
And finally, Azuma's contraption doesn't even pretend to kill him, but instead traps Tango in an ever-changing nightmare of piston tape walls, which he can't escape because every surface of it is moving and interrupting the block breaking.
How do you get out of a room like that, though?
Oh,
All right, come on, let's head out of here, chaps.
Very nice.
Nicely
done. Nicely done.
This torture device earns Azuma a pat on the head and a disqualification from the contest, but the grand prize of course goes home with ImpulseSV, as predicted by you guys in the poll on our previous video. Just for the record, the reason we didn't include Grian in the poll is that ultimately we expected him to be disqualified too, since his contraption didn't really kill anyone outside of maybe starvation, but Tango himself liked it so much that he left a consolation prize at his base, a shulker box full of firework rockets right from the Tech to the Skies shop. Hint hint, nudge nudge, come buy some more when you run out tomorrow.
This is the best. I mean, it's not going to last long, but he's got a loyal customer in me, I tell you.
Along with the first place rosette, Impulse gets the warm, fuzzy, ironic feeling of having invested in Tango's stock right before killing him. But that's not his only achievement this week, having redesigned the minecart elevator leading up to his gold farm, installed a pufferfish-powered door to his villager breeder, and done a little more urban landscaping to hide Joe Hills' Halloween shop inside the Derp Mall.
And it doesn't look too bad. I think that works out just fine for in here.
And Joe won't be needing access to it anytime soon because he packs up the store for the season, taking down the displays, scraping the cobwebs off the ceiling, and telling all the bats to go home. Luckily, his other businesses in the Dirt Mall are the evergreen kind, and Dirt Cheap has even sold a bunch of eggs to the people who wanted to exchange them for dirt.
Look at this, it's a virtuous cycle of prosperity.
With these newfound riches, Joe catches the scent of money and picks up some nearby pirate gold, only to strike him with a capitalist curse and send him in the direction of the stock exchange.
You know, I gotta get money, gotta get money, gotta get money, gotta... This is the best bank ever. Look, and they have a little statue of me picking up pirate gold and getting cursed. How did they know?
Still, at least he has the business sense to invest in false symmetry. False is mostly working on her base this week, which is a welcome return to normality. First, she equips the purple gazebo waterways with a boat elevator so you can sail into the middle when you don't feel like flying. Next up is her working on the central hole of the main donut, which is a whole lot to cover considering it goes all the way down to the bedrock. Overall, a water and quartz motif plays out rather well for it. For more fanciness, the lower levels are interchanged with large aquariums full of tropical fish and coral, accented by the blue waterfalls going down all the way from the aqueducts on the surface.
And I'm thinking like aquarium, room, aquarium, and then, you know, room, aquarium, room.
On the flip side, the harsh desert sun has taken its toll on Iskall85, who starts to work on what he describes as his stupidest project ever. But actually, it looks pretty good to us, a huge sphinx whose head can now be seen rising over the edge of the town. He even nudges Stress Monster into helping him out, which is a promising sign considering that she hasn't been seen on the server for about a month or so.
Boop, boop, boop. Is she actually gonna do it? It looks like it.
Eventually, the Sphinx gets some facial hair, but not the facial hair you might have expected. Instead of Bumbo's Sphinxoni, we get a stylish terracotta goatee, although by the time this recap comes out, it might be sporting a black mustache as well. Foreshadowing aside, all the builds on Hermitcraft might look different the next time we see them because the Hermit Hivemind has decided to move on to the third version of Jappa's new default textures, which you might recognise from a recent snapshot. You can express your opinion on them in the poll we've put in the iCards, but as for the Hermits, there's not really a solid consensus. Ijevin, for example, had to redo the entire interior of his underwater ravine apartment just because he didn't like the smooth sandstone texture after this update. Well, at least it didn't affect the concrete textures, which is what his new shop is made of, the potion shop residing in a giant brewing stand. To stock up on fizzy drinks for the crowd, Ijevin starts a whole new semi-automated netherwalk farm and sorts out a bottled water production line to boot.
God, those new textures are so bad.
But the overall number of Jevin-powered businesses actually stays the same for now, because the Hermit Graves, now out of season and pointless, were ultimately dug up to make space for their precious real estate value. Speaking of things that were dug up, TFC's branch mine continues to reach epic proportions, and with end rods now in plentiful supply, courtesy of Tango Tech, he decorates the ceiling with a repeated pattern of diorite and end rods. All goes well until he finds a section that's off by a block and has to time-lapse it all back into shape. Zedaf too undigs himself from a grave, which between the death episode and this being Minecraft officially makes him a zombie. The base he chooses to work on this week is the Iceberg Getaway, and now it is finally traversable by people with legs, as long as they don't mind meeting a polar bear, that is. One way or the other, Minty the Bear is now a proud resident of the spiral prismarine stairway leading into the deeper part of the glassy icicle, and coincidentally the only attraction of said glassy icicle. Yes, the grand staircase doesn't really lead anywhere just yet.
This whole thing is still just kind of a bit of an empty shell. And oh, it's an empty shell twice. It's a hermit crab shell, remember, and it's also just an empty shell of a building.
And finally, there's...
It's not a good look.
Yeah, that. Turns out when Green was singing about stealing Mumbo's facial hair, he wasn't kidding. Before Grian gets a chance to unveil Project Dirt House though, there's an awkward moment where Mumbo confronts him about the devastation wrought on their messaging system by Poultryman, which, naturally, Grian chickens out of explaining. But with that behind them, they activate the machine.
Because it works!
Mumbo's mustache leaps onto Grian's face, and from there to an unknown location, all via the magic of video editing. Eventually, it is found several sizes larger and plastered onto the wall of the Guardian farm. The plan, if you could call it a plan, is to sell access to this machine for 3 stacks of diamonds per use. Which, if you consider the amount of diamonds people are currently making on the stock exchange, is within most hermits' budget at this point. So if Jevin gets to it, we'll probably never see Mumbo's mustache again.
Maybe run at each other really fast and just hope it transfers over.
Look, Lord, looking good. It's back where it belongs.
While it's still attached though, Mumbo gets started on fulfilling the orders at his advertising store, starting with a look at Azuma's repair shop.
Take a look at how massive this place is. Great googly moogly, it even has buttons on the roof. It's so big, I'm lost. No, seriously guys, I'm very lost. I've been here for 4 days.
Back at the base, he hollows out the center of his island so he can pump items directly from the farming city into a new storage system in the lower half of his giant sphere, which would be impressive if he wasn't completely ignoring the storage system in the top half of his giant sphere. And that's pretty much it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixelriffs. Last week we had a lot of fun recap tagging Grian, not just because it's amazing to see so many familiar people in the sea of his comments, but because Grian apparently found out what we were doing and got involved himself. This time we'll be doing something a bit different. As a nice bonus to his Kill Tango winnings, let's show a little love to ImpulseSV's Naked and Scared Skyblock series he's doing on the side. Just find the video in the iCards and description and comment "nice abs" or something along those lines. If you see what skin he's using on that series, you'll know why. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, subscribe so you won't miss future recaps, and wish LoyXP a very happy birthday in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.